was that held him. It had the strength of steel. 3 hours without shelter. A humming sound in the background reminded Jack of high-powered electric lines, while the cold, damp hardness of concrete pushed into the back of his legs and head, chilling him to the bone. The constant scurrying and the smacking sounds the creatures made haunted his fragile psyche, making him flinch whenever he heard them. Never a religious man, Jack found himself praying to any higher power he could think of. There were no atheists in a foxhole. Well, what about down here, in the dark? 3 minutes without air. Twisting his left arm back and forth and scraping skin off in the process, Jack could almost reach the valve of his water bladder. Miraculously, his hiking pack was still on his shoulders. With a final effort, Jack grasped the valve in his hand. Bending his arm and pushing his head as far forwards as he could, Jack was agonizingly close to that life-saving liquid. He bellowed in frustration. A popping sound alerted Jack to the monster's approach. He cursed at her stupidity. Holding his breath and keeping his body rigid, Jack squeezed his eyes shut. Not me, not me, not me, not me. The rotten fruit smell lingered as the creatures carried out their grotesque task. Jack kept his eyes closed and forced himself to breathe in shallow breaths. He listened as he heard a tearing sound, followed by the sickening thud of a body hitting the ground. The monsters clicked at each other in some sort of communication. Jack gritted his teeth and screamed in silent terror as the popping of their joints faded away. Not me, not me, not me. It's not me. It's not me this time. Chapter 1. Jack gazed up at the stars, captivated by the serenity and majesty of the little pinpricks of light. As many times as he looked at the Milky Way, he never grew bored with it. He would spend hours searching out the constellations he knew, trying to name them. Scorpius, Canis Major, the Southern Cross, and a cluster of stars New Zealanders liked to call the Pot. Jack had been meaning to find out what its correct name was, but had never got around to it. Recently, he had learned about Pleiades, or what the Maori called Matariki, but he didn't bother searching for that cluster of stars now. It only appeared from late May or early June. He inhaled deeply, the fresh forest scents lacing the chill air. He loved it up here in the mountains, away from the rat race. As much as he loved technology, with its smartphones, flat-screen TVs, computers, and all conceivable gadgets, all to make humanity's wander through time easier, the wilderness was where he felt at peace, at home. Jack smirked. An eternal conflict. When he thought about it, it was the silence he liked. That and being able to see the galaxies spread across the night sky. In the wilderness, it was just him and nature. Nothing but the echoes of the stars. For 3 days he had enjoyed being off the grid. For 3 days he had let his mind wander. He had played out his favorite movie scenes in his head, laughed, cried at memories as he stepped one foot in front of the other, through mud, over tree roots. Often Jack had to duck under branches and squeeze through fallen trees. For kilometre after kilometre he had been at peace. His wife, Dee, would often ask him why he liked to hike alone. The only answer he could ever come up with was, "It's like being a nomad again, being one with yourself." When it arrived at the hut earlier in the evening, it resisted the urge to make contact with Dee for as long as possible. He sighed and stretched out his knotted shoulders. He took one last look at the stars. Digging reluctantly into his pack, he pulled out his phone. It was time to reconnect and let her know he was okay. Immediately after booting up, it alerted him to several messages. Looking at the screen, Jack saw that they were all from Dee, the first sent 3 days ago.